So our team name is Lose the Lead because pretty self-explanatory. Lead is bad and we want to lose it. I'm Kylie and I was the planner for our team.
Hi, I'm Jackie, and I was the ideas woman for our team.
I'm Maddie. I'm the editor for the team, so that's the strength that I bring.
Hello, my name's Shikaya, and my role for this team was resource manager.
Lead is a silent but deadly killer responsible for a significant portion of the world's morbidity and mortality. Lead causes a major burden on our world, as lead exposure is estimated to account for 21.7 million years lost to disability and death worldwide due to long-term effects on health, including 30% of the global burden of intellectual disability, 5% of the global burden of cardiovascular disease, and 3% of the global burden of chronic kidney disease. Now, clearly, this is a major issue, but why should you care? Well, because lead exposure is closely integrated with Durham's history. Up until the 1950s, Durham, North Carolina used incinerators to burn coal and trash throughout the city. These incinerators caused fly ash, which is the byproduct of burning coal. Fly ash is considered to be toxic as it not only contains lead, but also arsenic, mercury, chromium-6, and even uranium and thorium, which are radioactive. While these incinerators no longer run, the soil that lays in these sites where these incinerators formerly ran is still contaminated with the toxic byproducts to this day. A study performed by Duke University in local Durham parks found that much of the park soil still contains dangerous levels of lead. Pictured here is a map of soil test results from East Durham Park. Now note the fact that the Environmental Protection Agency states that the standard for lead in soil is 400 parts per million for play areas and 1,200 for non-play areas. As you can see, in certain areas of the park, the soil levels reach almost 6 times the EPA standard.
In terms of this public health issue, material circumstances are the primary intermediary determinant. And in the case of this issue, it is the physical environment that is detrimental to the health of Durham residents due to the fact that lead has been reported in 5 Durham parks. Along with North Cape Park, Walton Park, East Durham Park, East End Park, and Lyon Park have all been reported to have high levels of lead in the soil. And as for the root of the high levels of lead, as previously mentioned, these parks used to be sites of incineration. The physical environment of lead being in the Durham parks has caused a detriment for many Durham residents, and due to that, the intermediary determinant falls under material circumstances. However, it is important to know that it is not just health that is being affected by this health issue, because if one were to become sick, and with both child and adult, they are now unable to go to school or work respectively. And because of that, they are now getting behind on what they need to do, and they are now forced to stay home. And if their home is located close to these parks, they are now continuously being exposed more to the site and source that has caused their sickness to the first place. And that is why I said it's a loop of pain.
When we look into the history of Durham and its ties to racism in America, we can begin to identify the roots of the patterns that have developed in terms of where different races have settled and what the living conditions were like in each of these places. Going back to 1890, post-Civil War, Black people working in the tobacco industry migrated to Durham. White individuals working in textile were provided housing by their employers, while Black people were not, which resulted in Black migrants settling in 5 main areas: Walltown, East End, West End, Hickstown, and Haiti. The areas where Black people were concentrated are detailed with darker Black lines on the map. Upon closer examination of the conditions that Black people lived in, we can identify both race or racism and education as structural determinants. The use of these racist tactics, along with the withholding of information on said tactics being used, allowed for continued subjugation of Black people to living in these harmful conditions. We can see a lot of overlap between the location of Black migrants, lower quality ratings, and the location of incinerators. Keeping in mind that some of these areas, including Walltown, Lyon Park, and East End, are still predominantly Black, and these areas are the areas in which lead was found in their parks, one can see the connection between the structural factors, intermediary factors, health outcomes, and health inequities at play. To dig even deeper into the root causes of these health inequities, we are going to examine the socioeconomic and political determinants involved.
The socioeconomic and political determinants of this issue include governance, specifically the public policies that are used by local governments. For instance, laws and policies that regulate the use of products containing lead can help reduce the amount of lead that ends up in drinking water through runoff. Many of these environmental laws exist, however, they are in the form of state laws. As stated in an article from Michigan State University, often state laws focus on just one parcel of land or in reaction to a problem that has already occurred. Local governments need to do their job by creating policies that address the issues that are in their area, not rely on broad laws that made by the state that don't actually help to fix their issues. Some people are unable to properly maintain their homes due to the cost of maintaining lead paint. This also causes people in low-income communities to be more likely to have significant exposure to lead, creating an inequity.
So the structural determinants of segregation in housing based on race lead to intermediary factors such as Black residents being located near areas of high lead concentration. And then the intermediary can also feed back into the structural because white residents don't want to live near areas of high lead concentration. So that leads to continued segregation of housing. And then the intermediary and structural factors lead to health outcomes and health inequities, such as Black residents disproportionately experiencing the effects of lead exposure, such as anemia and nervous system damage.